If you really think about it, it's not only the Roma people that went through the executions, it's actually the Indian people. Even though we've grown apart as a people and we see ourselves as Romas and not Indians, we still share the same blood. So I really think that people need to realize that more and take it more serious than it has.
Hello and good morning. So if you don't know me, my name is Abhinav, and this is my second time in Scandinavia. The last time I was here to visit some friends, but this time I'm here for a very important reason. As you know that I create content around the Romani communities in different places in different parts of Europe. And when I started to create content and tell stories of the Roma people, I never knew that there could be Roma people even here in Scandinavia. I'm in Sweden today. So the goal here for me is to meet some Roma people, spend time with them, and just tell their story, what they have gone through. I have heard that they first arrived here in the 1500s, so they have been here for over 600 years now, and there's been a lot of persecution that they have faced in the last 600 years. So let's meet them and let's see what they have to tell us. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for all the love and support that you have been giving me, and thank you for being so curious about our long lost Indians. So far, you have seen me spending time with Roma people that look similar to Indians, but on my recent visit to Sweden, I came across Diana, Scandinavian by looks, but a Roma by DNA.
My grandma on my mom's side is from Norway, and it seems like those genes were very strong. But my grandfather on both my parents' side and my grandma on my dad's side are Romas. Yeah.
Okay. So do you identify as a Swede or as a Roma more?
As a Roma.
Diana was born and brought up in Swedish society. Growing up, her peers couldn't tell that she was a Roma because of the way she looked. Sometimes they said cruel things because they didn't know of Diana's background.
They would use it in a bad combination, like, oh, a gypsy built this or that, and that was they did it wrong, right? Or if they got fooled by someone, that person was a gypsy. No matter what they looked like or where they were from, they wouldn't even know their heritage, but they would use that in such a sentence. So when I was a teenager, I started to tell them, like, because they would tell me that because I look so Swedish, right? And I would tell them, well, I am a gypsy, so you can stop using that slur because you don't even know what it means. And they would actually, most of the time, listen.
Prejudice against the Romas is hardly new in Sweden. When they first landed in Sweden 600 years ago, things were a lot worse.
We have been lobotomized, sterilized, killed for money. But they didn't want us to have any kids. They didn't want us to become too many. So they would try to prevent it like that. So they would, like, say, put a price on our heads and then people would chase us. It didn't matter if it was kids or adults, they would try to get them.
Ever since I started to create content about the Roma people, I always struggled to understand why it is so difficult for the Romanis to integrate into Western society. But what I heard from Diana both completely shocked me and gave me some insight.
They would also take children and put them in other homes simply because they were Romas.
She told me that her family went through all of this too. She wouldn't even be alive today if one of her ancestors hadn't escaped from being sterilized.
Luckily, on that side of the family, there was one man who got out. He was a kid back then. He got out, and I think he ended up in another household, I don't know. And then, so he had kids, but that was the only one who made it.
In my last video about the Romas in Romania, you saw how some of them are ashamed of their identity. But Diana is a proud Roma and wished she wasn't white.
Yeah, I don't fit into my family because everyone else has brown hair and brown eyes, a little bit more brown skin. So I feel like an outsider in my own family sometimes because of that. I don't want to look Swedish. Yeah.
Why?
I'm very proud of my Roma heritage. I don't have so much to be proud of looking Swedish.
Diana's father Ilve works on roofs and goes really brown in the summer, he says. But growing up, he found it difficult to share his identity with people around him due to fear.
Oh, well, mixed blessings. There were times where you had to hide your identity. Most of the times you had to hide your identity that you're actually a Roma, a traveler. At home, we were allowed to speak the language and act out like we wanted to. But at school and in public places, we had to blend in. Didn't talk about it, didn't say anything about it. So, living in two worlds. And as a kid, that was hard to understand, to wrap your head around.
There was another reason for them to not share their identity. Before 2012, there weren't laws to protect Romanis renting properties, and they could easily be kicked out of their house by the landlords if they knew they were Romas.
We have, though, the ability to choose where to live now, and that's a law that established 2012, so that's not so long ago. Before that, they could kick us out because we were Romas. So my father never told anyone where we were from.
Although it is a great relief that Romas in Sweden can finally stay in their homes without fear, they still feel hurt that the story of the genocide of their ancestors is not yet acknowledged.
During World War II, it was not only the Jews that were executed in the concentration camps, it was also Romas. We were put in gas chambers and the ghettos, and we were starved to death. Everything that you can think of that the Jews went through, we also went through. And even though the executions of the Jews stopped after World War II and they got the country back, we were still executed in Sweden, most of Europe. We have been basically tortured through generations.
Even after 1,000 years after moving from India and all the persecution they have been through, the Romanis have managed to keep their identity that Diana is really proud of. She says she wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
We are very strong, I think. I mean, we have been going through this since we left India, and we're still here. And that's something to be very proud of, I think.
She told me how happy she was when she saw the footage of me in Ukraine, spending time with the Romanis there. At first, she thought that they were Indians too, but soon realized that they were people with the same ancestry as her.
And then I saw how they were talking with you. And at that point I was like, maybe they aren't Romas, maybe they are Indians. I didn't see the connection at first. But the more I watched it, the more I understood that, like, okay, maybe it's true that we are from India.
Diana was excited about the comments underneath the video too, and felt a love directed to the Romani people she hadn't felt before.
When I read the comments underneath the video, I was really surprised that so many people cared. I didn't think that anyone would care that, who we are. And I was surprised that people were, that they were accepting us so well and ready to accept us back to India even. That made me really happy, because we don't have a place, and like, even though we come from India, we don't really relate to India, and we don't relate to the cultures where we live either. So even if I've lived in Sweden my whole life and for many generations, I still can't really relate to it the same way as the Swedes do.
She started to become interested to learn more about the Indian culture that Romanis brought with them from Asia when they first moved to Europe.
We also share like how the house should be kept clean by a woman. Like if she has her period, she's not allowed in the kitchen. She's also not allowed upstairs because she will be making the rest of their home like unclean. And she's supposed to walk behind the husband or the men. Yeah.
Although these practices are not strictly observed in India anymore, Diana's curiosity for India has grown, and she says that she would love to visit India one day.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see where we first came from and see if I could find any history from us being there. if there's any way to track it down. Maybe that's too much.
Today, she's baking a bread that she grew up eating for her Swedish neighbors. All it has is flour, baking soda, and water. It is a staple food for a lot of Romani households.
Ja. Hur gjorde du det? Vetemjöl, bakpulver, vatten.
What is you can?
Do you think it has baked well?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I doubt it.
Camilla, what do you think?
Yeah, it looks good.
I think it's too soft.
Too soft?
Yeah.
Too soft?
Får jag känna lite?
Ja.
Yeah. Are you gonna try?
Ja, lite. Alltså kompakt
Ja.
är det ju.
Yeah. Would you like to try it?
Är det?
Okay. Now tell me, this could be very normal in a Roma household. What do you do in a Roma household when something goes wrong with your food?
We eat it. We eat it anyway.
Eat it anyway.
Yeah. Ska jag använda? Ja, vi hade.
It was so good to see the connection between Diana and Camilla. And finally, it was time for Camilla to taste a piece of the Roma bread Diana baked for her. What do you think, Camilla?
Är det mer salt i det här? Eller i scones?
Det här är lite mer scones. It doesn't taste much, but it's okay.
Or there's not much taste there?
No, a little bit more salt maybe
Mm-hmm.
should be in.
Okay.
But it tastes a bit like scones.
Scones. The English scones.
Ändå.
What do you think? Are you gonna have yours as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna save this for you. It's the
Okay.
better piece.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really soft. Way too soft.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I should have added a bit more salt.
Yeah.
This is just made now?
Yeah.
Camilla and Marcus are very kind to Diana. They absolutely love her and her family. So I asked Marcus if he knew anything about the Romas.
Yeah, it's chewy.
Yeah, chewy?
Bit compact.
Yeah, it's gonna stay in the belly. What I have read about is, the prosecution basically of the people. How they were treated as different because they were traveling. The government, they want people to be in the same place. They want them to be in school, and they don't want them to turning up in different counties. They took children and placed them in foster care due to that, they didn't see the parent fit to take care of the children. And of course we have the sterilization and stuff like that, and it's just mind-blowing how to, can't even think about it. It's insane.
Today, the condition for Romanis in Sweden is getting a lot better. Marcus, a native Swede, tells that he will do whatever he can to support people like Diana.
Yeah, basically don't give up. I think it's important to, don't stop fighting. Talking a lot with your family, Diana. And that is something that I think I could, be a positive force for you guys. Don't give up, and I'm gonna help you as much as I can with the things I'm good at. My superpower is that I can, talk to government agencies. So, yeah, that's what I do. I speak out.
As I flew back to the UK after spending some time with my Romani family there, I felt a sense of peace, seeing how things have progressed in Sweden. But at the same time, I know there are many Roma people still suffering and being killed because of who they are. We all have a gift given by God, and mine is to tell stories. So I will continue to travel and talk about the persecution that our dear Romanis have faced and continue to face even today, and give them the voice they deserve. Thank you for watching. This has been Abhinav signing off. Live raw. Hey Hey guys, I really hope that you enjoyed watching that film and learned something new about the Romanis in Sweden. I want to continue to make films and documentaries telling stories of our dear Romanis from different parts of the world. And if you want to support my journey, if you want to support my travels, then please visit my Patreon page. And just by even giving $2 or $5 every month, it'll enable me to go to these places and tell these stories. Thank you very much for watching this film, and thank you for all the love and support. Live Raw.